Valdecil Garcia and J.B. Shuck rounding it out. The Cricket wireless defensive setup is Jake Marisnick playing left field, and he can really go get him with Carlos Gomez and George Springer. It's a very fast outfield. Luis Valbuena, Carlos Correa, Danny Worth, and Marwin Gonzalez in the infield, with Evan Gattis doing the honors behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Doug Fister. He beat our ball club earlier in the season. This is his 16th start. He's 8-4. His ERA 3.36. When he's right, he throws a lot of ground balls, doesn't strike out a whole lot of people. The umpires for the game this afternoon: Tim Timmons behind the plate. Ryan Blakeney is at first. Mike Everett, the crew chief, is at second, and Jordan Baker is at third. So they've thrown a ball around the infield, which means we're ready to play baseball. And I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Steve, thank you. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and a very happy Independence Day, 4th of July weekend. Make it a happy and a safe one. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. As a big 6'8" right-hander delivers first pitch in on the fist, and he fouls it away. Anderson comes in hitting at 300, 3 homers. He's driven in 5.
Fister has a curveball to go with that sinker. He also throws a cutter and the occasional straight change.
He's always pitched pretty well against us. Now, the times we did get to him, we got to him in a big way. A lot of runs.
Well, you get to him early when a sinker baller is most vulnerable. You got a good chance.
A little soft fly ball into center field. Gomez is there. And right now, let's check out our picks to click. Jim Angel, Fillmore, Skip Ellison, Don Walgren, Dave Ross. They're going to go with Avi. Steve's going to go with Todd Frazier and J.J. Shearer and all the great folks at Ditka's Restaurants. We're going to go with Alex Avila.
Well, this race is heating up for the picks to click. Very hotly contested.
There's a song in there someplace. It's just a matter of time.
That's it. They're going to be pulling away in the late stages.
So here's Adam Eaton.
Valbuena is well off the line and in at third base. He's in at the cut of the grass, but he is way off the line.
Well, you touched on it in the lineups there. This Astro outfield probably can cover more ground than certainly any other outfield in the American League.
Yeah, they are very fast, and the oddity of it is that the man you're looking at might be the third best center fielder in the outfield. Marisnick is just a defensive whiz in center field. He's playing left because Gomez back in the lineup hit a home run last night, and his normal position is center.
That's out of play. And here at the juice box, 315 down the left field line, 362 in left center, 436 in dead away center, 373 in right center, and 326 down the right field line. But that's just a 7-foot wall down there. And there is ball 4. So 8 for 11 and stolen bases of the board.
And sinker ballers will have problems early when they're throwing a ball a little bit harder than they would like to throw it. Fister at 6'8" has a good downhill plane, but he threw everything up. In fact, everything up to the first 2 hitters.
Well, most of the time when you get a big, tall pitcher out there who's throwing everything up, it's as a rule it's because he's getting out there a little too far.
And at 6'8", he's got a long stride anyway.
There are certain little things that young hitters who come to the big leagues, obviously they have some talent or they wouldn't be there. But there are certain elements that go into thinking. As the same thing happens with pitchers. I used to love to talk to pitchers more than I did hitters, because pitchers you could transpose it, so to speak, and learn a lot about their craft and how, for the most part, they were going to pitch you. Back them up. Made a good pitch. After happening in play, our guys nothing, and their guys coming to bat.
Up against Chris Sale. It's Springer, Gonzalez, and Altuve at the top. Altuve the DH today, with Correa, Gomez, and Gaddis in the middle. Gaddis with big power. Valbuena, Wirth, and Marisnick rounded out. The Cricket Wireless defensive setup, and how Robin is going to line him up behind Chris Sale. Garcia, Shuck, and Eaton in the outfield with Todd Frazier, Tim Anderson, Brett Lawrie, and Jose Abreu in the infield with Alex Avila catching Chris Sale today. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is the aforementioned Chris Sale, going for his 14th major league leading win with an ERA of .279 and a great strikeout to walk ratio.
So here's one of, if not the most powerful leadoff hitters in the game, George Springer. Comes in at .259, 17 homers and 48 driven in.
He's probably got more power as a leadoff hitter than Ian Kinsler, who's got a lot of power for a leadoff hitter.
Ian Kinsler has been a terrific leadoff hitter.
Yeah, he has.
It's not so much what he hits as when he hits it. He's been one of the best clutch hitters in the game for a while.
That one you were hoping would spin into fair territory because Alex Avila was all over it, but it stayed foul. So it looks like Cleveland Indians' 14-game winning streak is going to come to an end as Toronto has slapped up a 3 spot at least in the bottom of the 8th to take a 9-6 lead.
One thing about comparing Kinsler to Springer is that George is 26 years old, and yet Kinsler is a better fastball hitter than he is. Ian Kinsler is one of the better fastball hitters in the game.
He's as good as it gets. If you're going to tell him a fastball's coming, really throw it 105 and not throw it by him.
No, that's right. Same way with Brian Dozier out in Minnesota.
And they both love the first ball fastball especially. Boy, Avi Garcia is way off the line in left field.
There you go.
Springer goes down on strikes for the 83rd time. That was a good slider. It's a back foot slider. It's low and in, and not much of a chance for Springer.
So here's the switch hitter. The only switch hitter in this lineup, Marwin Gonzalez, first baseman, hitting at .252, 6 long ones, and 21 knocked in. Nice. 2 down.
This one right at Todd. He goes up and gets it. And one pitch, an out. And that's what has separated Chris Sale this year from the Chris Sale of previous years. He's kept the 10+ strikeout games to a minimum, but he will throw more one pitch outs than ever in his career.
So here is June's Player of the Month in the American League, Altuve. Had a streak broken last night of reaching base in 32 consecutive games. Also, he's on another streak. He's played in 171 consecutive team games, which is the longest games played streak in the major leagues.
Pretty amazing that, number one, he's played in that many, and two, that's the longest streak. It used to be guys just warming up.
That's high and deep. He has hit Chris well. He's now 7 for 19, and it's 1-0 Astros.
That's his 14th home run. He's now driven in 47. When you take a look at this pitch and realize that it was about 4 inches out of the strike zone up. Our Ford home run replay, look at the location of this one and look at the little man go up and get it. This ball's way out of the zone. Boy, it looked a lot like Dustin Pedroia on that one as he drilled it way out of the park.
Well, we touched on that last night. Two of the best high fastball hitters in the game, Pedroia and Altuve.
And they're two of the smallest players in the game.
Well, they got to be good high fastball hitters.
That's what they look at.
Everything is high.
We hit the daylights out of that one.
Correa takes the strike. He's just 21 years old, Carlos is. 269, 13 homers, 50 driven in. Got a chance to be one of the top players in all of baseball. Todd on the move, yes. Nice play, but the long home run by Jose Altuve is 1-0. Bad guy. White Sox Talk on Twitter, and be sure to follow at CSN White Sox all season long for the latest news on your favorite team. Frazier, Avila, and Laurie.
And there is the difference. He's been the difference in a whole lot of games this year, and he's a DH today, which is something he does very infrequently.
They've got a nice balance to their offense.
They got a lot of speed.
And they've got a nice approach.
Yeah, they do. They do. Well, you talked with their hitting coach yesterday, and he seems to have figured it out for his team.
Well, that's the thing. You know, what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. Todd, 1 for 4 last night, 4 for 10 lifetime off Pfister. Yes, every team is different. Every team is different as far as what's going to fit them offensively.
Who was the best one-way hitting coach, had one style and one style only, that you've seen in your years in the game?
I think the best hitting coach that I've ever seen was a guy who was a Hall of Famer, which is a little unusual, and that was Bobby Doerr.
But he wasn't a one-way hitting coach. I mean, he had different approaches with different players, I would assume.
Well, he did what I think he taught. He didn't so much teach guys to hit at the major league level. He taught them how to be dangerous at the major league level. All these guys got talent, they wouldn't be in the big leagues. But what happens invariably, especially with young hitters and young Latin hitters who are so aggressive innately, that's the way they play the game down in their homelands, Dominican, Venezuela, wherever, Puerto Rico. They play a different brand of baseball down there than we teach our American kids to play. That's foul. But Bobby did something that he tried to eliminate quadrants, like we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, he said taking something away from the pitcher.
Exactly.
And looking in one spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't cover the whole plate. And that's why so many hitting coaches make so many mistakes trying to get their hitters to cover the whole plate. They can't do it. Your great hitters can't cover the whole plate all the time, much less your marginal talented major league hitters.
Now, you'd have to say that Dave Hudgens has done a really nice job with this team because they're so diverse in how they approach everything.
No question.
Yeah.
No question about it. You're going to see, and another thing too is there's a shot. Attaboy, Todd. You're going to see a couple of things go by the wayside that have been in vogue for a while now, and that is trying to take guys deeper into counts. You know, first of all, the starter's not going to be out there more than probably 6 innings anyway. Then you're going to get that 7th inning guy, the 8th inning guy, and the 9th inning guy. So there goes that theory right out the window.
Yeah, and also, you know, you're going to take a hitter who's hit off the first and second pitch his entire life, every place he's ever been, and tell him now you got to take a pitch or two every at bat. You put him in a hole that he's not going to get out of. I mean, that's just the way it is.
They do it.
Well, they try to, yeah.
Yeah. Cooperstown is filled with guys who are really good first ball, fastball hitters. Because many times, as you and I have discussed,
yeah,
you went about it another way. You went at first ball, curveball.
Yeah, you were going to see a first ball, fastball. You could wait up there and you can grow old waiting
exactly.
for that. But I could throw it for a strike, and that was the difference.
I told you. Baltimore Orioles had an 8-time 20-game winner and a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, Jim Palmer. And I had rather face him than face you.
Well, you know you were going to see a high fastball.
Exactly.
And you were going to see a lot of high fastballs.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Guys didn't hit him well, but you saw him.
Exactly. And facing a guy like you, who's a breaking ball pitcher, especially after you hurt your arm in, at that point, I don't know what I'm going to get from you. I got to try to figure it out. You got me thinking. With Palmer, you didn't have to do a whole bunch of thinking. You just had to do a whole bunch of looking.
Well, you know, when we faced the knuckleball earlier, one of the things that Stephen Wright did was you could guess knuckleball, you just couldn't guess the speed because he used different speeds. Same thing with a curveball. You can guess curveball, but if you throw it 3 different speeds, it's going to be hard for you to guess curveball and then guess the speed. And that's the secret of it.
You've heard me say it 100 times. Hitters hate to face guys who change speeds on their breaking stuff. I mean, they hate it.
Yep.
Give hitters the one-pitch pitcher or the guys who come at you hard. They don't mind that. They might go for 4, But if the guy hits the spots, they're definitely going to go for 4.
Well, the big shift on once again against Alex Avila, who swung it well against Pfister.
Timmons gave Lester a break right there.
Yeah, that ball was off the plate inside. Normally, if they give you anything, it's going to be outside by an inch or 2. But very rarely will it be inside, because most umpires line up in the slot. That's the spot between the catcher's right arm and the hitter.
Well, we had a good umpire game last night from big Jordan Baker.
He was very
I didn't
good.
see him miss a pitch.
And nobody argued about anything.
He was. I wish we could have said it was the umpiring that we got shut out. We can't. So there is the first 2 men aboard.
Celebrate the holidays in the middle of summer with Christmas in July on Friday, July 22nd. Purchase a specially priced game ticket and receive a voucher for a White Sox Santa hat. Stay for the post-game fireworks set to Christmas music. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/Xmas.
You know that going deeper into counts, especially with young Latin aggressive hitters, is if you just think about it, there's no common sense in it, because of the fact the only time you would think about having guys try to work a guy to go deeper into counts is when the starters are going to go 7 or 8, maybe 9 innings.
Yeah, tire him out. Now,
exactly.
Now you can't tire him out. No.
How long has it been since you've heard the word, well, he's pacing himself?
Oh, you can't.
That's history.
Yeah, it's go as hard as you can, as long as you can. And we've got 2 7th inning guys, 1 setup specialist, and then the closer coming in.
Tries to shove that one to the right side.
Well, this has been Sox hottest hitter over the last week and a half, and so you couldn't have a better man up in this situation. But Pfister going to try to jam him, and he hasn't successfully kept the ball down, except perhaps maybe the 1 pitch to Abreu.
I said it when he was in Toronto, and I said it when he was in Oakland, and I'm saying it right now in that Sox uniform. He's one of the most fun guys in the American League to watch play.
Well, the fact that he's putting up some pretty good extra base numbers early in the season is also a delight.
He's not a big guy, but he's strong as a mule. I'll bet you in the American League there's not probably, if there is any, not more than a handful of guys who have less body fat than he does.
No, I have as much body fat in my right leg as he has in his whole body.
You do.
I mean, you're looking at maybe 5%, 6% body fat.
High. And it's playable.
Well, he almost missed that one. And during the daytime, a little more difficult on pop-ups than it is at night. And Correa, who's played here a lot, had trouble with this. Valbuena gives way because this is a shortstop's play. He was able to catch it, but not without a few tense moments.
Just one of the great, talented young shortstops in the American League. It's amazing. So here is the honor.
Pfister's been around since 2006 in professional baseball. Made it to the major leagues with Seattle in 2009. Spent some time with Detroit, parts of 3 different seasons. Then had a huge year, his best year by far, with Washington in 2014. 16-6, 2.41 ERA.
You know, talking about hitting coach, that was a good question that you asked about who I'd seen. One-way guy. They were, probably the most one-way guy was a good hitting coach with the Tigers for many years, Wally Moses. And his philosophy was, if you're a right-handed hitter and you swing the bat and you miss the ball, let that ball hit you in the right shoulder. Yonder, stay in the air. It's off the wall. Well, here comes time. Now they're going to wave Alex around. Now Deanna on his way to third. He will get there, and the Sox lead it 2-1.
You got to believe that's going to be double E9 as Springer got to the ball and then couldn't pick it up. So Navarro driving in his 9th and his 10th. And the sinker balling Fister gets one up out of the zone, and Navarro puts a charge into it. Almost left the ballpark. He thinks it's a home run. Springer sees it hop away and then has some problems with it.
Now they're going to bring the infield in as Avi takes it up and in. So Deanna picks up his second triple. I had it marked down like you did as a double.
Double E9, but
yeah.
you know, you have a hard time giving errors to the home team sometimes if you're a home team score. That would have been just the second error of the year on Springer, but they're leaving him with one, and Deanna will be more than glad to take the 3-base hit.
Well, they only have one error in that outfield. Now they have one error in the outfield.
That's it. Boy, you got one out, and I don't know. I don't know if he had the 3-0 green light, but he took one right down the middle. He hit one yesterday that just was a rocket. Just missed going out of the ballpark. Put a big dent in the Moore Houston Town Pride sign.
So that is the third walk issued by Fister.
A big workload here in the second inning, as Fister, who doesn't normally walk a whole lot of people, just 28 in 93 2/3 coming in, has lost the battle with locating the plate early in this one.
Shuck takes first pitch strike.
Cleveland streak is over. Toronto has beaten them 9-6.
Now, one thing about Cleveland, they can pitch it.
They can that, but they ran out of pitching
Yeah.
yesterday.
Well, they used 9.
The guy was supposed to start. It was prepared to start. Trevor Bauer had to go 5 innings in yesterday's game.
Well, that may have been a tit for tat, because you got to feel like if the way Bauer's been pitching, if they give him some runs, he's going to be in there all and win probably. A little soft one hopper, so that's out number 2.
A lot of folks might ask, you've got a slow runner in Navarro, why would he run on a chopper to the left side? And the reason is the contact play was on. The contact play is any contact made, regardless of where it's hit, you take off and you make them throw you out. Well, that's exactly what Valbuena did, and Deanna's hung out to dry, but that's the risk of a contact play.
Yeah, sometimes, according to who the guy is at third, if he's a real good base runner and got a little speed or whatever, they will give him the option, make sure it gets by the pitcher, or you know, use your own judgment on it. Most of the time, though, you framed it right, because hey, I don't care where it is, you go. That ball's hit, you go.
Yeah, maybe they'll mishandle it. In this case, it was a relatively easy 5-2.
Worth over, so we get a pair. We lead it 2-1.
To look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
So he had a golden opportunity there to pick up another one and didn't do it. Here's Gomez. It'll be Gomez, Gattis, and Valbuena. Carlos 1 for 4, 2-run homer last evening. Nice crowd. Had almost 32,000 last night. 31,965. They're averaging 28,000. Nice. Good motion.
Good straight change, and Chris hasn't been striking out a whole lot of people on the straight change this year, but he had Gomez well out in front of it.
Two runs on 2 hits for our guys, 1 run on 1 hit for their guys. A home run by Altuve.
Over the last couple of weeks, encompassing 2 starts for Chris Sale, on base percentage of only 100 when he gets you to 2 strikes. That shows you normally if he gets you to 2 strikes, he's going to put you away. Like that. He twisted himself into a pretzel and went down on strikes.
As I said, a lot of people don't like him. I love to watch him play. He's fun to watch. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of Beltray in him.
He hasn't heard about the shortening up on 2-strike approach.
Oh no, that don't work with him.
He's going to let it go on every swing, and he's very fortunate he didn't sprain his ankle on this one. Strikeout number 2.
And here's a very strong man right here. Pops him up.
Surprising thing about Gattis is he's actually a pretty good catcher. And when they got him over here, they said they're going to get him here strictly as a DH. Well, that wasn't because he couldn't catch. That's because he took such a beating behind the plate that they wanted to keep him active as long as they possibly could.
Well, he's so big.
Ooh, he's big. He's wide.
Yeah. So he's going to take a beating behind that plate with those foul tips.
Last year, 27 home runs. He drove in 88. And he played in 153 games. And that was their point about not catching him too often.
Yeah, those big wide catchers, Pierzynski, Fisk, Gaddis, all these guys who got huge shoulders, they're going to take a beating behind the plate. High pop up. Now Avi takes charge like he should. 2 down.
Avi was looking up again. It's really difficult. You take a combination of Avi not playing left field and having to look up toward this roof in the daytime. It's not easy plays, especially for the visiting team.
It's, you know, as I said yesterday, it's out there and it's not coming back. It's like, I guess, putting something on the internet. And once it gets out there, it's out there. Okay. But you talking about hanging a moniker on somebody of being a poor outfielder. I just don't get it with Avi, because that's popped up coming back. So that's a nice quick 1, 2, 3 inning, and Chris leads it 2-1.
Here's the first run of the ball game, and with that first White Sox run, eClick Lending will donate $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
Adam Eaton. There's a base hit. Nice piece of woodwork right there. Didn't try to do too much with it.
Gaddis has a very strong arm, so this should be a good confrontation. Adam decides to take off.
Here's Abreu. He's 0 for 1, hit into a 4-3 double play.
Down the line here is a little similar to Fenway Park in that you can hit a shot down the line, a fair ball, then it can hit that corner and bounce back toward the shortstop instead of going all the way down the line because of that angled area that you're looking at in the left of your picture.
That's why here, because of that, and in Fenway, you're much better suited to have somebody who can run out there in left field.
Well, they do that, Marisnick. I think Adam was going to go and then lost his footing. He got a start but I think spun his wheels somewhat, and he stopped. Take a look. Yeah, he's going and then just couldn't get the footing, so now he's going to straighten things out. And you know that they're not making things heavier at first base because the Astros have a very fast team, and they've swiped 63, so they want the footing firm.
Just a little, could not wait back just a tick more.
White Sox fans, join us for Country Music Night as the White Sox take on the Atlanta Braves on Friday, July 8th at 7:10. Stay after the game for a post-game fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/country.
Here's Todd. Well, he just fractured one leading off last inning. Bullet into center field.
Good combination for Todd because you've got a guy that throws a lot of home runs. Pfister tied for the team lead. He's thrown 14 of them in 95 innings. Good slow curveball.
Yeah, he took
70
a lot
miles
off
an
that
hour.
one.
Had Todd well out in front. Well, big challenge for this Sox team without their most dependable hitter, Melky Cabrera, out of the lineup, and hopefully can get back quickly.
Well, I tell you also I'm hoping to get back quickly is Austin Jackson. We miss him.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a bit for him.
Yeah, I know it, but I tell you that what a job he did in controlling, maintaining that outfield.
He made it a whole lot
And
better.
he was swinging the bat great.
Yeah. Oh, that was the surprising part because he was really just starting to heat it up.
Watch out. All these clubs are pitching. Abreu and Frazier up and in.
Up and in off the plate, making them move their feet.
Yep. There he goes. Safe. That's number 9 for Adam.
He got a great jump off Pfister. It took a long time to deliver the ball. Looking back to see if there's contact, and with no contact, a bad throw to second, and Adam is in scoring position.
Full count. So that is 2 down.
Slow curveball, well off the plate. Todd very frustrated with himself.
Here's Alex. He walked and scored last inning. Well, those are the 2 quadrants we talked about. Fastballs up and in, and
Yep.
slow breaking balls in the dirt, down and away. Drops it and catches part of the outside corner.
Alex does get a base hit, and it's to right field. It's going to be a real interesting confrontation. The legs of Adam Eaton against the arm of George Springer. He's one of the best throwing right fielders in the game, and Alex Avila with 2 triples in the same game against Doug Fister. That was June 9th of 2011, the year that Alex made the All-Star team. He should have made the All-Star team just in getting 2 triples in the same game.
Good pitch there. 1-2. Using all 17 inches of that plate on the first pitch and then that last one.
If you can drop a slow hook over the outside corner and dot the catcher's glove on the inside corner, it's tough to hit. Fister the last couple of years has added a cutter to his repertoire. Now his fastball normally tops out 86, 87, so it's not overwhelming. And he's got to spot it, but he's been pretty successful this year in doing that.
On the way. Minnesota leading Texas 17-5. Full count, 2 down. Yeah, it's got a piece of it.
That one in the zone and a pretty good pitch. He's able to foul it off and stay alive. Big gap in right center field. Get it out there, you can run for days.
That was more of a get me over right there. Good pitch to hit and couldn't do anything with it. And in Toronto beating Cleveland, if you're just joining us, 9-6. Encarnacion number 22, Tulowitzki number 13, and Josh Donaldson hit number 20. Reigning MVP. Josh. Alex walks for the second time in as many innings. 4th walk issued by Fister. This is the slowest I've seen Fister work. Usually he likes to get it and throw it.
Yeah,
get it and throw it. Get it and throw it.
I think he's pretty insecure about his stuff. Plus, he's really battling his control today. That's walk number 4. And he's not through the 3rd yet.
So here's Brett. And there's the base hit. So here comes Adam. He falls down. Now he's still going to try to get up and make it, but he's going to be a dead duck.
Well, once you fall down at 3rd, I'm not sure why you would take off, but he decided to. And he's out by plenty. Watch it again. Drilling it through the left side. Navarro, coming off a triple, is waiting in the on deck circle. Right here he goes down and Joe McEwing says stay here, but
yeah, what makes that doubly bad is that he could have broken his arm or his wrist right there. Meanwhile, we still lead it 2-1.
Time now for our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms, and most wins by a White Sox pitcher before the All-Star break. Not surprising, Wilbur Wood, who started every third day in 73, 74, and 72, as 18, 16, 15 respectively. Chris Sale's going for number 14 today, and then John Garland, Jack McDowell, Jim Cott, Stan Bonson, and Billy Pierce all tied with Chris Sale at 13. Just trying to break that tie.
Like Jack McDowell.
He's a good one.
What a competitor he was. Wow. First pitch strike to Danny Worth. I saw Black Jack go out there many times when he didn't have anything. Hips killing him. First thing you know, you're in the 7th inning. It's a 2-1 ball game.
Winning with less than your best is the art of pitching.
He had, I'm not saying mastered it, but he was one of the better ones at winning when he did not have his good stuff. He just outcompeted you. That's simple as that. He was like a Chris Bosio when he was.
Worth had a good spring and was hitting the daylights out of it at AAA, but so far hasn't translated up here. He's only had 25 at bats, playing in just his 11th game.
That one hangs outside.
Might remember him from his days with Detroit. Played parts of 5 seasons with the Tigers. Did Danny Worth.
Souvenir right side. 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for our guys. 1 run, 1 hit. That was a home run by Jose Altuve for their guys. Didn't want to do that.
Every Monday, the White Sox will feature a flash sale in which 200 tickets in select lower level seating categories for an upcoming game will be available for just $10. Each sale runs for 24 hours or whenever all the tickets are gone. For full details, visit whitesox.com/flash sale.
So here's Jacob Marisnick. Okay, took too much time.
Well, Marisnick can fly, and he showed it to you right there. We talked about it on defense, but it also plays on offense, and looked like he bunted himself into a base hit. Not a great bunt. Chris does take his time, but unfortunately, Marisnick just too fast.
So they're back to the top of the order. Here's Springer. He struck out.
Outfield straight away, and like the first time up, Avi Garcia is in left center field, giving him the entire left field line.
That ball hit hard in the center field. Nice job. Nice jump right there by Shuck. So Werth's going to tag, moving to third. Long out. One down.
At probably right around 400 feet to straightaway center. Springer shows you the strength. It's allowed him to hit 17 home runs, but this is a wrong center field. There's a lot of room out there.
Well, even though he's the leadoff hitter, we both know one thing. If the end of the season, if we didn't see them or hear about Houston anymore, and somebody at the end of the season said Springer hit 35 home runs, it wouldn't surprise either one of us.
No, you get a good chance of doing that, and he's just going to get better because he's still pretty young. You always said, what, 27 when a hitter really comes into his own?
For guys who have not achieved their potential in that zone, that area there, 26, 27, and sometimes maybe stretches as far as 28, but 26, 27.
Tim Timmons didn't have to call it a strike. It was right down the middle. And Gonzalez, leaning out over the plate, almost gets hit with a strike. Well, his right foot was behind the plate.
Well, that's the reason he had to get out of the way.
I mean, yeah, that was not a great setup.
Gonzalez just hit a bullet that Frazier had to time perfectly, go up in the air and make the catch on.
Marisnick came in the game last night as a pinch runner and was gunned down by Alex Avila. Perfect throw to second base to end the 7th inning.
So that gets the game tied at 2. Couple of bunts, but the leadoff walk comes around to score.
RBI number 22 for their all-purpose player, Marwin Gonzalez. That ball hits the grass, stays there, and Jose does a nice job of throwing the ball around Gonzalez as he has to move into foul territory to make this throw. And he gets the job done.
Well, you got one of the best pitchers in the game out there, and the last thing you want to try to do off a guy like Chris Sale or Jake Arrieta is have a big inning. First thing you want to try to do if you're behind a run is tie it up as quick as you can. Altuve, a long home run. Base hit. And the throw is off the mark. They lead it 3-2.
That ball was low and away from Altuve, and he just reached out and drove in run number 48. Don Cooper will come out and have a word with him, and Altuve just goes out and gets it. Javi's got a chance, but the throw is well off the mark. Chris Sale backing up where he should be, saved at least 90 feet, maybe more. So that single, second on the throw for Altuve, who's 2 for 2.
Here's Carlos Correa. Three runs on 3 hits. And they have effectively used the bunt.
That's one of the things you have to like about this team is they have the versatility to play the speed game, play small ball, but they also can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Gives them a very effective offense.
We've got 19 more home runs than we do.
Yep. Yep.
Good try. Good throw is going to get him, but it's not a good throw.
Doesn't matter where the throw is. When these guys see a throw going all the way through, the trailer, the man who hit the ball, always moves into scoring position. So RBI number 51 for Correa. He shoots it through the right side, and then despite the 10 assists by Adam Eaton this year, they run on it. And this one comes rolling in, off the mark, and no chance for Avila to get Correa coasting into second.
So Correa at second now. And here is Gomez. That's something we haven't seen all year. We're just 2 decent throws right there. You get either one of those guys.
You get them. Both throws off the mark. And both trailers moving into second on the throw. A tough inning for Chris this inning. A walk and 3 singles.
Well, the key hit in this inning after the leadoff walk was that bunt by Marisnick that Chris took too much time on.
Yep. It opened the inning. And they were playing for 1 run all the way. But the inning opened up and they've got 3.
Big gap in right center. And that'll retire the side, but the crooked number goes up on that board. It was an ugly inning for us. Insider Dan Hayes all season long on CSNChicago.com. Presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. 4-2 Houston here in the top of the 4th inning. And Ugley, bottom of the 3rd for us. So here is Navarro. He tripled, knocked in a pair. Back in the 2nd. Ball hit sharply. Nice backhand by Worth.
Sox fans, on Monday, July 25th at 7:10, the White Sox take on the Chicago Cubs, presented by United Airlines. United, proud to fly the Chicago White Sox. To purchase tickets today, go to whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME.
And what a great job United does. They fly a ton of teams, including us. Mark Seipold, Sparky, Joe Bonilla, Jackie Cruz, Carolina.
They make it pretty easy.
Elodie.
Pretty comfortable.
Oh.
You can take your time on a high chopper if you've got a rocket for an arm. And Correa showed you there that even with a fast man going up the line, he's got a rocket for an arm.
Chuck. I was talking with Evan Gattis before the game, and we are talking about, mentioned what great young talent we have in the league, and he says, wait till next year and the year after. He said, we got some guys coming that are unreal.
But we've seen good young players. We've seen some top prospects from organizations up a little bit earlier than they would have thought, for injuries and other factors, but well, there's a tremendous amount of young talent.
Well, the all factor, all AWE, all factor is not anywhere near like it used to be. These kids coming up today, they know they can play. That ball hit deep. He looks up and you can put it on the board. Yes. Number 3 for Shock. And it's a 4-3 ball game.
Third home run, RBI number 9, and 15 straight solo home runs for the Sox, and that ties an all-time team record. Great to hit 15 home runs, but you'd like to occasionally hit them with somebody on. It hasn't happened in our forward home run replay. JB closes it to a 1-run game, and Fister does what he has done, which is give up solo homers.
Little flare into short right, but we'll go to the bottom of the 4th, trailing by 1.
Chicago, think eClick Lending. Whether looking to purchase or refi, never pay lender fees with eClick Lending. Visit us online at eclicklending.com to lock in your low rate today. eClick Lending, point, click, and save. Mortgages lowest right now that they've been in years.
Carlos Sanchez just called up
With fluorescent tape. Be able to see his bat anywhere.
and here is Evan Gattis popped up to Avi in left field. Takes first pitch strike.
He's a very big man, and last year 11 triples. It's almost a miracle.
Yes, timed it perfectly. Did Laurie?
This one off the end of the bat. Good changeup by Chris. And Brett takes it away.
A lot of times when balls hit like that, you have a tendency to jump too soon. He waited and timed it nicely. Valbuena fouled out to Avila.
A.J. Hinch told me that they didn't have enough players who hit right-handed to have an entire right-hand lineup. He had to play one left-hander, and he felt Valbuena was swinging it from the left side pretty well. But he was thinking that perhaps a bunt was in order. There's a look at a man who had a very good year last year. Surprising year with these Astros. A.J. Hinch in his second go-round as a major league manager, and over 500. Well over 500 as an Astro manager.
One and two the count.
Danny Worth in the on deck circle, their all-purpose player.
He gone. Two down.
Third strikeout for Chris.
He started off that 3-1 third with a walk. So a nice quick inning. We're into the fifth, trailing by one.
We'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Moultrie Telecommunications in Lovington, Illinois.
Top of the 5th inning, 4-3 bad guys. Adam Eaton to lead it off. He has walked and singled.
A lot of Sox fans in attendance here this afternoon.
Pops it up and back for a souvenir.
These two teams going head to head here in Houston are the top 2 defensive teams in the American League.
Well, Brett Laurie has showed some outstanding range at second base. Tim Anderson is better, at least for me, than I expected defensively.
Yeah, I mean, and spring training, honestly, you wondered if he would be able to figure it out defensively. You thought offensively he would, but you'd be able to figure it out defensively. And boy, he looks like a different guy at shortstop since he's come up.
And at third base has been just a revelation for us, as there's a base hit back through the middle, so good speed aboard. Todd Frazier has been as good as anybody down at third base.
It's been a good defense, and this defense has committed only 35 errors this year.
Well, Melky has played terrific in left field. Adam Eaton has been almost sensational in right, and when Austin Jackson was in there, so there's your real solid defense right there. Here's Abreu. He is 0 for 2. Get in there. It will. First 2 men aboard. Of course, you're talking about defense. You can't leave out Avila and Navarro.
Overall, compared to the last few years, this has been just wonderful, as Michael Feliz, if he hasn't yet, will start throwing. Very good time if Todd can lay off those slow breaking balls away for him to finally break that streak of 15 straight solo home runs for the Sox.
Got it.
That old saying of never make the first out at third base probably comes into play here. This one doesn't get away all that far, and it's held up by Todd Frazier. So if it doesn't carry him off Frazier, maybe a chance. But as it turned out, not much of a chance.
Well, with that gun that Geddes has, he just took his time.
Yep.
There's a good take right there. And with that, gunning Adam Eaton down, they put the shift on. I'm even a little surprised that Gonzalez is holding Abreu on. Another good checkup. Tide's one of those hitters, as strong as he is, that come August, his wrist will be barking as much as he checks it up.
Well, that time he laid off most of the pitches low and away and induced the walk.
5th walk issued by Fister. And here comes a man who has 2 of those 5, Alex Avila. Yeah, big, strong hitters who check up their swings a lot. In August, it's not fun. Gomez over towards Marisnick in left. Gap out there in right center, and a lot of room between Springer and that right field line. That's souvenir time.
It's also 96 pitches, so you don't expect Fister to go too deep in this ball game. Could be a 5-inning affair, leaving 12 outs to cover for the pen.
Two down.
Changed eye levels with a high fastball and threw it by him.
So here's Brett. He's 1 for 2. Come on, Brett. Tie this thing up. Get in there. Nope. Valbuena did not cover.
Yeah, that's
bad play for him.
That's a mental mistake, because as soon as he realized he can't get this ball, he's got to go back to the bag, because Correa is only going to have one play, and that's the third. So the inning stays alive, and Brett Lawrie has his second hit. Valbuena out in no man's land, can't do anything with the throw. If he was at the bag, inning over. But bases loaded, and a big chance for a man who's hit the ball very hard twice.
Down there with that 2-run triple in the second. He also has grounded hard to Danny Worth at second base. Sacks packed with socks. Big pitch coming up, the 1-1.
That ball, a cutter down, and good late movement.
He did not go.
Trying to heat him upstairs, and Jordan Baker at third base saw that.
There's a base hit by DeHonor. That's going to score a pair. Brett into third. And the Sox lead it 5-4. Yes.
That's 4 driven in for DeHonor today. giving him 12 for the year, and that is probably going to mean bye-bye for Doug Fister. That breaking ball stayed in the middle of the plate. Big hop eludes Gonzalez at first. And a one-run lead as Fister leaves. So as he walks out, we'll step out and be back after these messages. Is Michael Feliz. He's one of those guys that can go extended innings. He's had a brilliant year. 5-1 on for the 22nd time. ERA a little above 3.5. 46 strikeouts at 35 1/3. And right-handers have done nothing with him. 162. With opponent's batting average below 200, that is outstanding.
Well, he's 22 years old. He's a big man, 6'4", 230. Out of Azua in the Dominican.
And you would have to think he's probably got starting pitcher written all over him, but right now they're better served with him in the pen.
Avi has walked and grounded to short. And the count evens at 1.
During most of his early career, he was a starting pitcher. Then got called up briefly last year, only 5 appearances, and that was all as a reliever. Putting together a strong year.
But we come up, big base hit by DeHonor, and we lead at 5-4. All right, our Chuck, thank you, buddy. It's bottom of the 5th inning and a 5-4 Sox lead. Here's Jake Marisnick. Had one of the big hits, and it was a bunt single. For the Astros, that was back in the 3rd after Danny Worth had walked to lead off that inning. Very quickly, 2 strikes. Finale tomorrow afternoon. That half game right back here on Comcast Sportsnet. It'll be Jose Quintana against Colin McHugh. That game tomorrow. That is a 1:10 Central start.
After this abbreviated road trip comes to a close, it's back home for 3 against the Yankees and then 3 against Atlanta before the All-Star break.
There you go.
See your name in lights at an upcoming White Sox game. You can celebrate a birthday, anniversary, and more with a scoreboard message. Proceeds benefit White Sox charities. To book your message, visit whitesox.com/scoreboard.
Back to the top of the order. Here is Springer. He is struck out. He's going out deep to center field. Two and 0.
Chris has walked only 1. That coming in the 3-run 3rd. Like that one, he threw what some would call a batting practice fastball. For him, 92 right on the outside corner. And Springer looking fastball all the way. Just couldn't time it.
That will even the count. Bit of a gap out there in right center. Yes, he did. He gone.
Second strikeout for Springer. This is a good snapping slider low and in.
That's a grab some bench. This pitch right there.
Unhittable, and you can't check your swing unless you've got superhuman strength.
Every time I see a hitter now do what Springer just did, I always think about Torrey Hunter.
Getting hit.
Yeah. And that look on his face when he went back to the dugout, that was priceless.
Chris has done that a few times. That slider looks like it's coming over the outside corner. You go out to get it, and it hits you in the thigh.
Yeah, if you're a right-handed hitter and stand fairly close to the plate off Chris, you're really taking the worst of it. You got to back off that plate and try to beat him arm side. That is to right field.
That one off the finger of Alex Avila. Well, he continues to get hit as much as any catcher in the game, and that's the last place you want to get hit. Throwing hand. Hopefully he's going to be okay.
Well, he really has gotten to the point of
Whew.
Almost like AJ Pierzynski, where he's just become almost immune. It hurts, but he just takes it.
Alex has been a ball magnet. Alan Ashby is broadcaster on the TV side for the Astros. His fingers point in every direction.
He just reaches out and rips that one into left field. So Gonzalez at the board with 2 down.
Yeah, unfortunately, it keeps it alive for a man who's hit the ball very hard twice. Their team leader, their all everything, Jose Altuve.
Well, he's got to be one of, if not the smallest players to win Player of the Month.
I would assume that
5'6".
Pedroia in his MVP year must have won it a time or two.
Well, he's 5'8".
Well, he's 5'8" if you don't stand next to him.
He towers over. He towers over Altuve. Yes, he did. Here's what he did in the first inning. Oh, Chris.
Well, he just reached up and got a fastball way out of the zone. Hit it out.
Five runs, 9 hits, no errors for us. 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors for them. As the count moves to 1-2. He gone. Back to bottom of the zone. We have completed 5 and lead it by 1. As you check out our CSN tail of the tape, Sox lead it 5-4 after trailing 4-2. So here is Shuck. He's 1 for 2, a homer. In the 4th inning, takes first pitch strike.
JB talked about playing more, and with playing more, getting more consistent at bats. You've got a pretty good idea about what kind of stroke you're going to have on a daily basis. When you're a part-time player, getting at bats every 3, 4, 5 days, it's difficult. Just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And here is the Miller moment. Solo home run, 15 straight solo home runs for the Sox, tying an all-time franchise record. They would dearly love to have the 16th straight here. Feliz played in the All-Star Futures game back in 2014. Got a very good arm and a hard breaking slider.
Well, I've never, or can't remember ever hearing about a team hitting 15 consecutive solo home runs.
No, it's pretty amazing, actually.
There's so many elements that come into play there that are against that. Most hitters really enjoy getting somebody out of the stretch more than a windup. There's a chopper, 2-hopper.
White Sox fans, next time you want to grab White Sox seats, get the StubHub app. We take the price and location of seats, show you which tickets at StubHub give you the best deal. So get the StubHub app today. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago White Sox.
Here's Anderson. He's 0 for 3. Take strike 1. I tell you, this game is just so beautiful. So many things happen that you've never heard of or has never seen before on a consistent basis.
Well, it's one of the things that I've always marveled at is the fact that between you and I mean, we've seen, there's no telling how many thousands of games, and yet maybe once every week, week and a half, you see something you've never seen before.
That's right.
And that keeps
never
amazing.
Heard of it.
No. Like the triple play early in the season, that never been done in the history of baseball, those numbers.
Good pitch. 2 down.
But for Tim Anderson, he's never seen any of these guys. So when you're seeing that slider for the first time, it becomes that much more difficult.
Well, that's
83 miles an hour.
You know, that's why he just absolutely had just a sensational break-in being called up.
Get a very lively bat.
Well, 20 games, his first 20 games, he had 10 multi-hit games. I mean, that's another thing I've never heard of a rookie in his first 20 games having 10 multi-hit games.
That fastball from Feliz at 97.
Adam has walked and twice has singled. And twice has been thrown out. Once at home and once at third.
Chris Sales got himself a 1-run lead.
The 1-2. Third strikeout for Feliz, and we'll go to the bottom of the 6th, leading 5-4. You don't want to miss another episode of Beer Money, airing tomorrow night on CSN. Watch contestants test their sports trivia knowledge for the chance to win cash. Beer Money presented by Coors Light, tomorrow at 7 on CSN Chicago. We have a 1-run lead, 5-4 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Correa, Gomez, and Gaddis to face Chris. Correa with that single to right field, knocking in a run. That was his 51st RBI. Not going to do anything with that one, young man. Oh, 0-2.
Not a backdoor breaking ball, but that one slipped off Chris's hands. Gomez in the on deck circle has not had a very good day.
He knew it. He will grab some bench on that one.
That's what he tried to do on the last pitch, and this time shaving off that outside corner. Right-handers have very little chance. This one comes way outside, shaving off the corner. Best description I ever heard is that it looks like the second baseman is throwing to him. So our pitching line brought to you by American Sail. Not one of his best, but 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, and he's got the lead.
Gomez 0 for 2. And that's going to get fouled.
Pretty good idea, and fortunately it got fouled. Gomez used to be able to do that to both sides, but especially the push bunt to the right side. And against the left-hand pitcher very effectively, but that time he tried it. For him, wrong side of the line.
Two down. 3 in a row for Chris. Number 8 altogether. This
has become a familiar pattern as far as strikeouts. He doesn't start out with too many. He had 2 in the first 3 innings. But since then, striking out the side last inning, around a base hit, in the first 2 this inning. That was a good straight change. Had Gaddis well out in front of it.
Lays off of that one. There's a chopper 2 hopper. Guns it over. Nice pick by Abreu. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 7th, leading 5-4.
Coverage of baseball, and it's Big Poppy last night. 3 for 4, hit a solo homer, and with 522 he passes Ted Williams, Willie McCovey, and Frank Thomas for 19th all time. Also a couple thousand hits with Boston. That's pretty good. And this year, a banner year. A candidate certainly for the MVP. Altuve right there with him. 19 home runs, 64 driven in. And the OPS is staggering. The big man who says he's calling it quits after this year, if he does, he will go out with a very special year.
Oh, we got to do something. We got to talk to him. Have somebody talk to him. We can't let him retire.
You know what he said? It wasn't that he can't do it anymore, because he can, obviously. It's just that his legs, his feet hurt so badly, and the time that he takes before each and every game, and what he has to do in the offseason, he says at this point, looks like he's going to hang it up, but he leaves that little crack of light.
I hope so.
In there. Yeah, he's great for baseball and great in Boston. I mean, he is the man and has been in Boston for quite some time.
Well, it takes him 2 hours to get ready for a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
$35,116 in attendance this afternoon. And that's in the left center field off the end of the bat.
What a play.
Yeah, he can do it. Marisnick, a defensive phenom. That is a beautiful, beautiful catch.
Talking with just about everybody associated with the Astros, they say that if Marisnick could hit just 240, he would be an everyday player. That's just an outstanding effort. Not only great speed, great timing, lays out and takes a sure base hit away from Jose.
You can't be a great outfielder unless you have great commitment. And you can't be a great outfielder or an infielder unless you're into the game to get those jumps. Because if you're thinking about a pop-up or a strikeout that you had at bat before, you can't get a good jump.
Well, you told the story about Willie Mays where you said that he played, and one of the reasons he was so great, he played with his ears.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to hear the broken bat and come get it because he just got too good a break on that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Willie, the day, as I mentioned, we were playing golf with Big Frank Hondo, Frank Howard. And we were both talking to Willie about his defense. There are a lot of people in the National League that'll tell you Willie Mays is the greatest player to ever live.
Yep.
A lot of people, and I'm talking about that time zone. And there are a lot of people in the American League that'll tell you Joe DiMaggio is the greatest player to ever live. So it's just a league versus league. But Willie said, yeah, he said, I asked him, I said, what, do you do anything defensively? He says, yeah, I play with my ears. The sound. And as Steve just alluded to, Marisnick had to know that Abreu hit that ball off the end of the bat.
Well, otherwise that ball falls and maybe the opening of a huge inning.
Tied 1 for 2 with a couple of runs scored.
Tried a slider and threw that one way out of the zone.
So many guys will take that at bat out to their position. Oops. 2 down. 4 strikeouts now for Feliz.
His problem here was he thought that slider was actually going to slide. It didn't, and it caused an unusual swing. Sometimes backup sliders work real well. If you can throw them by design, it's even better, but very few guys can ever throw that pitch by design.
And for all you youngsters out there, you don't have to have real great speed to be a great defensive player. But you have got to be in the game. As a rule, when you come or you're watching a Major League Baseball game, if you see a guy get a bad jump, it's probably because, just think back to what he did his previous at bat. A lot of times it's because of that at bat he got a bad jump. Alex 0 for 1 with a couple of walks and a run scored. Seventh inning stretch. We lead it by 1 run. To you by Travel, the beautiful state of Wisconsin. So plan your fun today at travelwisconsin.com. July 3rd, Astros 4th, 5th, and 6th against the New York Yankees. 8th, 9th, and 10th against the Atlanta Braves. Indeed, Wisconsin is a beautiful state. Valbuena has fouled out and struck out. Now, I'll give you an example of how playing the outfield and being smart and getting good jumps and thinking won the New York Yankees a world championship in 1978 in a playoff game with the Red Sox. Guidry was pitching for New York. All he was 25-3 that year. Won 3 in the playoffs, was 28-3.
That's a good year.
But here's what won it for him. Guidry's facing Yastrzemski in the bottom of the first inning there at Fenway. And he threw him a high fastball, and Yastrzemski ripped it right around Pesky's pole for a line shot home run. Lou Piniella was playing right field, and later on in the game, he made an unbelievable catch and throw to get the man at third base. And I asked Lou, I said, why were you playing over there? He said, well, when Yastrzemski hit that home run in the first inning off Guidry, I knew the Gator was a little short on his fastball. So I was playing guys more over towards the line. He gone. Number 9. And that, because of that home run, the Yankees won that playoff game and went on to win the world championship. Of course, he had pitched probably 300 innings that year.
It's what used to happen in 4-man rotation. A lot of guys either at or knocking at the door 300 innings.
Well, he had a slider like Chris Sale. And of course, that particular year, he was probably a little more consistent with it than most left-handers ever have been, with the exception of Steve Carlton, who won 27 games one year for the Phillies, and they only won about 30.
No, that year 27-10. That was 72. 27-10 for a team that won 59 games.
Yeah.
It was absolutely astonishing how dominant that year was.
Well, he had that slider that nobody could hit. Show me a left-hander with a good slider and good control of it, and I'll show you a winner. That's a fair ball, right over the top. He gone. 2 down.
Todd knew it was worth going down the line. He had a little extra time, so he set himself and made a good solid throw and got him quickly 2 up 2 down here in the 7th. 94th pitch of the outing forthcoming, and Chris has gotten better as he's moved along.
That ball hit deep into right center field, but we got a man there. So that is 7 in a row retired by Chris, and we're into the 8th, leading 5-4.
And it's the big day of Dioner Navarro. This coming in the 2nd inning, and that triple drove in 2, but that was only the start of it. Then in the 5th inning, Dioner comes up, a 1-hop rocket over the glove of Gonzalez, and he's driven in 4 today, 12 for the year. 4 the 5 coming off the bat of Dioner Navarro, who's going to hit second this inning.
And hitting first, Brett Lawrie. He's 2 for 3. 4 for 7 in the series.
Feliz has a very good arm and an exceptional slider.
Well, he's only hung 1, and he got away with it with a strikeout. One and 2 the count. Six strikeouts now for Feliz. Boy, you get a first man out like this guy, and you get yourself something.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's really made it for Houston this year. There's 3 guys going multiple innings, but he's got the best stuff of the bunch.
Here's DeAnna 2 for 3 with that triple. 2-run single, 4 RBIs. Right at the bottom of the zone.
Baseball's 2 biggest summer events back to back. The Home Run Derby on July 11th at 7 p.m. Central. And don't miss baseball's biggest stars at the 87th All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 12th. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Central.
Well, he struck out 7 of the 9 guys he's faced.
No, he's been absolutely overwhelming.
Watch out. Well, that's a rocket. Whew. Ball was torched.
Astros bullpen up and going. So far, Feliz really has needed no help. It's Tony Sipp throwing again.
And this is the poster child, so to speak, what we were talking about last night, the importance of that first man out.
Boy, he was a bullpen saver today, because this one could have used 4 or 5 pitchers. I'm not sure what the fans were doing about it exactly. That ball was a good 3-4 inches inside off the plate.
Back through the middle. Worth can't get him. So the first hit given up by Feliz. Good effort by Danny Worth.
Avi hustling down the line, and Worth makes a very good play. But here comes A.J. Hinch, and that probably means that Tony Sipp comes in the ball game.
So a big round of applause will be given to that young man, and deservedly so. Faces 10 guys, strikes out 7 of them, gives up a 1 infield hit. He departs, and we'll be back.
Our Hyundai call to the pen is Tony Sipp. ERA up over 5 on for the 33rd time. Usually a situational left-hander, having some problems this year. Opponent's batting average of .305, and he's allowed 6 home runs, and he'll be looking in at J.B. Shuck.
Shuck 1 for 3, that home run, his 3rd of the year. Back in the 4th inning. Just a short lead by Avi. Marisnick giving chase. And we have a moment. I want to send a big White Sox hello. Huge Sox fans watching in Omaha. Joe, LJ, and Nikki Hyduk. Oh, and 1 to count.
Sipp had a couple of very good years with the Cleveland Indians. Also played for the Arizona Diamondbacks before coming to Houston. Good 2 years with the Astros. Last year 1.99 ERA in 60 games. So he threw it well this year. Hasn't been very good for him.
That's into left field. Get over his head. It will. Here comes Avi. He's going to score. Now on his way to third base. Here's the throw. Safe.
And they're going to want to look at that to see if he got in. The run's going to score anyway. That's the good part. Valbuena thought he got him. We'll see what they think in the dugout. JB with a homer and either a double and a triple pending review.
No, the biggest thing, 2 RBIs. And now Hinch wants to have a look at it.
Watch the left hand.
Well, what a nice relay that was. So we'll wait for conclusive evidence.
Leads with the right hand. That angle, can't really see when the tag got there, but
well,
his right
it
hand
looks like he was safe on that angle.
The right hand got the bag and he hooked the bag, didn't come off. Doesn't look like he tagged him yet at that point. Looked like he waved a glove across.
That angle is not conclusive. The other one, if anything close to it, was. But what a good piece of woodwork right there by Shuck. Hit that ball a long way off the left hand, and that pitch was way out there.
Yep. Huge insurance run one way or the other.
Well, that's not the issue. Just want to keep the inning going. Because that run is, you can put it on the board.
Yep.
Well, unless they can find something conclusive, the call will stand. Safe. Yes. Second triple for Shuck.
And with those 2 driven in today, JB has 10 of them.
Don't stop now, boys, as here's back to the top of the order. Tim's due. He's 0 for 4 today, 0 for 8 in the series. So we'll take a pitch in the dirt, a wild pitch. Very quickly 0-2. And there's a shot base hit. Yes. So Shuck's going to score on the double by Anderson. And it's a 7-4 Sox lead. Boy, what a beginning to a major league career by Tim Anderson. Mercy.
Tony Sipp, who's having a tough year, continues that tough year as this one out over the middle of the plate. Anderson drives in his 3rd run without the benefit of a home run. He now has 6. First hit of the day. Couldn't have come at a better time. Single, a triple, and a double.
Don't stop now, boys, as here's Adam. Well, Sox had another guy who started off his career, first 20 games with 10 multi-hit efforts, and that was way back in 1949. Gus Zernial.
He didn't get any infield hits.
No. So a nice inning right there. 7-12-0 for us, 4-5-0 for them. All right, our Chuck, thank you. Top of the order for the Astros here in the bottom of the 8th. Springer, Gonzalez, and Altuve to face Chris Sale. Springer 0 for 3. A couple of strikeouts and a deep drive to center field.
Sox bullpen up and going. If Chris has any problems, he's gotten tougher as he's moved along. After that 3-run third, he's given up 1 single since then, and Nate Jones throwing in the pen.
Two and two.
Tried to get him out of the zone. He did expand that zone, able to foul it off. As Marwin Gonzalez waits in the on deck circle.
Big gap in right center. 2-2 pitch. And there's the base hit. Got that breaking ball in a bad spot, and Springer takes advantage of it.
Don Cooper wanting to find out if Nate Jones is ready as Chris Sale hits the century mark in pitches.
So here's Gonzalez 1 for 2 with an RBI on a bunt.
There's one thing Marwin doesn't do particularly well, and that's run.
Short lead by Springer.
Chris a little unhappy with himself that he missed the zone with what appeared to be a changeup. I'm not sure how he got out of the way of that one, but fortunately for Chris Sale and the Sox, he did.
His technique was very good on that, getting out of the way. Watch him. He turns the other way at all. He gets drilled right in the side, stomach.
Apparently they want to look at it again. It's Trey Hillman checking on whether they saw if it got him or not.
There's one. 3 balls and a strike. Come back and get him.
Anderson playing pretty much up the middle. Todd Frazier fairly close to the line at third, but off it by about 5 steps.
Static lead by Springer. Off the glove of Frazier. So Ducks on the pond, nobody out.
And here comes Robin.
And he's going to that pin. Gonzalez has been on Crisp. First time up, he lined out. They're going to give Frazier an error on that. So Chris will depart. Jones comes on and we'll be back.
Six hits, and he leaves 2 on and nobody out. Get some trouble early in this one, but then started to heat it up, getting everything in the zone for giving way here in the 8th inning. So still in line to win number 14. Our Hyundai call to the pen is Nate Jones, who comes on with runners at second and third and nobody out. On for the 38th time, ERA .275 and a 4-2 record.
All right, just forget about the runners and get the hitter. Adam coming on. Here he comes to the plate. Missed him. Good speed of George Springer. It's a 7-5 ball game.
Altuve drives in his 3rd run of the day. Adam Eaton with a pretty solid throw this time, but a little up the line, and Springer able to go behind the tag. Gonzalez, thinking it had a chance to be cut off, stays at second base.
Correa 1 for 3 with an RBI. Guessing strike, didn't get it.
Sharp breaking slider, a nice job by Alex Avila making sure it didn't get by. David Robertson, Zach Duke loosening in the pen.
And the count 1-2. Big pitch right there. All of a sudden now that strike zone gets a little bigger.
Well, if he swung at that first slider out of the zone, a well-placed slider probably going to get him.
Oh, that's a great concept. A little too much out there.
Nice movement by Alex Avila as he slid to his right. That one was way off the plate. That could have easily have gone to the screen. And on the carom, never really know where the ball's going to go.
Yeah, he's good back there. The 2-2 pitch. It's full. Carlos Gomez on deck.
They got Colby Rasmus. He's a left-hand alternative as a pinch hitter. And A.J. Reed, who is a young hitter. Not sure he sees it here, but there's a look at Colby.
Bell. Yes, he did. He gone. 2 down.
This is a huge break as this fastball is way up out of the zone and Correa could not check his swing.
Gomez 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts today.
Well, he got a fastball to hit right down the middle and fouled it straight back.
And he was all over it.
He was.
Thank goodness underneath it. Just off the plate. And another big pitch coming up, the 1-1. It's 1-2. Upper tank. Souvenir. Hard high, slow low. Timmy's got him. And that'll retire the side. So Nate Jones with an excellent job gets out of it. And we'll go to the ninth leading by 2. Jose Quintana takes the bump for our guys in the series finale. Coverage begins at 12:30 with White Sox pregame live, presented by the Koalas family of dealerships right here on CSN Chicago.
Ed Neshek comes in the ball game. 2-1 ERA, a fine 2.96 on for the 32nd time. Only giving up 15 hits in 24 1/3, a most unusual motion for a sidearm, almost submarining right-hander.
Well, he ought to be the poster child for many youngsters out there in high school and college who don't throw hard. Do something different.
Well, I can't believe that he started like this. This has to be, I mean, this has to be after some adjustments, because this motion doesn't come along very often, if ever.
Well, you got to do, if for all you youngsters out there who want to pitch in the big leagues and you just don't have the big arm, the big fastball, you've got to do something different. So you might as well try the motion factor and get some. That ball hit deep into right center field, and they're not going to get it. But he hadn't been scored on in 19 of his last 21 outings using that motion. So Abreu picks up his 18th two-bagger. More importantly, leading off the inning.
He would have had 3 today, but for highway robbery by Marisnick in left field last time up. So Jose crushes this ball into right center field. Gomez cannot get to it. And a chance for another insurance run.
So here is Todd. 1 for 3. Had a solid single to center leading off the second inning.
Neshek has given up 4 home runs this year in 24 1/3 innings. That is a high total.
Yeah, if your conventional motion is not going to get it done for you, try something else. You got nothing to lose. Todd trying to take it to the right side. Now he's down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Again, trying to just shove it that way. This is when, as a hitter, you really got to focus on the release point, not the motion. His release point seems to be pretty consistent. Pops it up right side. Get out of here. It will. First row. Seven runs, 13 hits, 1 error for us. We have stranded 7. 5 runs, 6 hits, no errors for them. They have stranded 3.
Chris Sale went 7+, gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 6 hits with a walk and 9 strikeouts, in line for win number 14.
Yeah, we had a left-hander with us for a while back when. Kelly Wunsch started off his career conventional.
Yep.
Didn't work. Changed his motion and got to the big leagues. Once again, the 2-2. He's trying like the devil to get him over to third base and hopefully get him in.
At the very least, it's going to be a 10-pitch at bat. That was going to be an 11-pitch at bat. He's fouled off 6 of them. So good battle.
A lot of souvenirs off the bat.
7 foul balls.
Todd Frazier. And that is high.
Well, you look at the Menards pitch tracks, and they've been all over. And there's been a lot of them. And there'll be another one.
Well, there was a cookie right there. He just missed it.
Yeah, you get it right down the middle.
Yep.
It's a slider. And Todd's swinging it real well. He tattoos that one.
Pops it up in the center. So there's one out.
Follow White Sox Baseball live with MLB.com at bat. It's the app that will allow you to stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
Pick him up, Alex.
Left-handers should get a much better look at Neshek than the right-handers.
Top of the zone. Just joining us, they scored 1 in the first, home run by Altuve. We picked up 2 in the second. They scored 3 in the third. We scored 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, and 2 in the eighth. Had him way out in front on that one. Count hangs at 1-2. Once again, reminder, finale of this brief set and road trip tomorrow. Quintana against Colin McHugh. on your schedule. They get that registered as a GN game, but it's a Comcast game. 2-2 the count.
That's his changeup, which is the most unusual motion for a guy with an unusual motion. Got Laurie in the on deck circle. He's got 2 hits today.
Two down. So here's Brett. 2 for 4 today. He was 2 for 4 last night. In his last 9 games, he has 7 multi-hit games. Outfield for the most part straight up. Bit of a gap out there and right center. For their guys in the bottom of the 9th, schedule hitters are Gaddis, Valbuena, and Worth. But we will somewhere in there see Rasmus come to the plate.
David Robertson will do the honors.
That ball hit into center field, so we get the leadoff double by Abreu and leave him right at second base. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th, leading 7-5.
Trying to preserve win number 14 for Chris Sale. And Robertson looking for his 22nd save of the year. On for the 33rd time. 21 for 23, an ERA of 3.21. And the top and middle of the order pretty much out of the way.
Gaddis at the plate. Valbuena on deck. And the next scheduled hitter, Danny Wirth, in the hole.
I don't think Danny's going to see this one.
No. He won't see Robertson. The ball just killed. Just foul. Gaddis has faced David twice. He's 0 for 2. Drops a hook on him. Gaddis out of that Mike Napoli mold, so to speak. Dangerous.
You make a mistake on him, he can hit it a long way.
Yeah, he had some big hits in this resurgence that the Astros have been making. He did not go.
Started to go after it, but he's able to keep his hands back, keep the at bat alive. Luis Valbuena in the on deck circle. Chris Sale handled him as he does most left-handers.
High in the right center. And a big out. First man down.
That ball was up out of the strike zone, and
hard, high, slow, low.
Gaddis helped him out.
That's an age-old formula that works pretty good. Valbuena 0 for 3. Takes first pitch strike. He's faced David 4 times. He's drawn the collar. Big, strong A.J. Reed on deck. And the reason being is that Colby Rasmus against David Robertson faced him 14 times and he's 0 for 14.
It's not good.
Way back in the seats. 0-2 the count. And let's go back to the formula. High pop up. 2 down. And the man sitting next to me was a poster child for that formula. With 2 strikes.
Yeah, I love to face high fastballs, which now everybody's going to. Jose Quintana, who we're going to see tomorrow. He's made a living off that face high fastball.
Well, you did too, after you learned.
Yeah, took a while.
So here's Reed. Got his first major league hit last night. But he is strong.
And Rasmus in the on deck circle. Ace Reed keeps it alive.
Last year This man is just 22 years old. In 135 games, he hit 34 home runs and drove in 127.
6'4", listed at 275.
And he's not what you would call obese.
No, big man, very big man.
That's deep, deep, deep. And a 7-6 ball game. His first major league home run.
Give you an idea just how strong he is. As that one went into the bullpen.
You know, he just muscled that ball out here. He didn't get all of it.
No,
not even come close.
He was the #1 prospect in this organization, and you have some sort of an idea why. Ford home run replay.
He just absolutely muscled that high towering fly ball for most mortals. But it just didn't come down. So here is Rasmus. A 7-6 ball game. That's off the plate. Yeah, this is a dangerous offensive team. Young, strong, and dangerous.
You throw the ball up to Colby Rasmus, you'll have no problems with him, and that's what David has probably done to Rasmus over the course of his career. Keep it down, though. He can hurt you.
He can hurt you a long way. A long way. One and two the count. With 2 out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And this ball game is over, and Chris Sale is 14-2.
When you consider that the ball club is 1 over 500 and Chris is 12 over 500, you see how remarkable this first half has been. David Robertson able to chalk up his 22nd save, and the Sox tie the series heading into the rubber game tomorrow. A curveball down. Rasmus, as he's done against David Robertson,